Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gen AI Talkin' 10, brought to you by SS&C Blue Prism. I'm Brad. He's Satish. And let's dive right in. So, Satish, let's talk about what incremental value Gen AI is delivering to organizations that were already using automation.
Absolutely, Brad. This is a topic that's near and dear to our customers, right? Because a lot of our existing customers, they have been using automation for a while. They see Gen AI is a big deal, at least from their management, and they're thinking, how do I actually incorporate this? And this is one of the questions that frequently comes up in our customer conversations. So a couple of things are top of mind for a lot of our customers, right? Number one is the kind of tasks, the end-to-end tasks that can be accomplished is much more complex, I would say, because they inject AI into the digital worker. If you look back in time, at the very beginning, automations used to be simple, repetitive tasks that are mundane, etc. But now we are talking about, with Gen AI, how can I handle more complex tasks than ever before, right? And then do more without human intervention as much as possible. So that's number one.
Okay.
The other thing I've noticed with a lot of our customers and their processes is the expanded role for automation, right? Some people think, RPA is dead, Gen AI is going to replace RPA. Nothing could be further than the truth. I mean, if you take a simple thing like unstructured documents, used to be couldn't access those unstructured documents, and so automation was stopping in the tracks when it encountered an unstructured document. Well, that's no longer the case. Unstructured documents can now almost be translated to structured, and hence, there's increased scope for automation. So you'll see, again, this whole idea of end-to-end automation orchestration. And with our Blue Prism platform, just a quick plug for us, we have both orchestration and automation, right? And with AI, I think the three together are an amazing addition. Now, the other thing that we are seeing is improved decision-making, right? So you combine Gen AI, right? It can, along with traditional AI, it can analyze tons of data and come up with some decisions. Now, if you use those decisions to drive digital workers, then again, you are doing more things that were not possible, right? But the interesting thing here is the decisioning that was not possible before. You would use specific models before, but with Gen AI LLMs and SLMs, your scope of what you can cover and address is far greater. So those three things come to mind. There's things like process optimization that can be much, much better. There is content creation, of course, right? We know that. That's why the generative and generate, right? So now you can automate content and the digital workers can work with the Gen AI. If you trust the content enough, it can be sent to people. Let's say the customer asks for some data and, you need to generate a response. Well, you can combine the two and the digital worker can send it to the right place or update systems or what have you. So tons of things going on, but these are 4 or 5 things that come to mind.
Yeah. Certainly, companies seem to be much more innovative in the way that they're optimizing or re-engineering their core processes, because there were always things that would, they would be like a brick wall. They would automate up to a point, and then they would say, well, this is a place where we need, to review information or go and find, 10 different documents and pull those together. And then that allows us to take it to the next step. And all of a sudden now you see our customers saying, we no longer have to do that. We can leverage Gen AI to go out and scan hundreds, if not thousands of documents and pull out what we need or summarize it or categorize it and then hand that back to the digital worker. And now we can automate further. We can be more end to end, as you said. So absolutely, I think the more people experiment with it, the more they realize all these different capabilities.
Yeah.
It's driving much more innovation, much more creativity. And at least that's what I've seen.
Yeah, it's also interesting how you talk about innovation, right? Some of the companies are doing innovation in terms of product development here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of that process in developing the product could be automation, has been automation in a lot of cases, right? In manufacturing, in any kind of scenario where there's a sequence of steps that are repeated that have to be executed in order to create a product or service or what have you. Now, Gen AI is adding ideating, right? The ideation part where, is there a way to make a process better, right? Maybe faster, better, cheaper than ever before. Is there different kinds of prototyping possible, right? Where you're generating images based on how you think something should look like. Now you use automation with that to go through the rest of the process, right? And you're combining innovation with some of the existing development or other operational processes and injecting innovation into those areas, right? Which is very, very exciting. I mean, especially areas like healthcare and financial services. I think you and I have spoken to a lot of customers in those two areas in particular, and we are seeing a ton of innovation expanding the opportunities for automation, leveraging AI, right? So,
yeah. So Tish, the last 18 months have been very, very heavy in terms of POCs and pilots and companies kicking the tires of Gen AI. And that includes our customers that are integrating it with digital workers and, using the two capabilities together. What have you seen as the enablers that have helped some of those companies to actually move it forward and get it into production, make it something that's real, where it's not just, a skunk works thing under the desk that someone is having fun with, but it actually turns into a real solution and starts delivering value? What is that required from what you've seen so far?
I think what's required is the mitigation of risk, right? Because if you start with, what is the obstacle that's stopping these companies to move from a POC to production? Because they might be a little nervous about, hey, if I move this, what about control and governance? What about trust the information that's coming out of Gen AI? So, when they have that trust, right, in what's coming out of the Gen AI solution, they have a layer of control and governance, which Blue Prism can provide. These are the kinds of things that we have seen. Take some of the world's largest pharma companies who are our customers, or some of the largest financial companies. We are even providing services for them that have Gen AI in them, right? How can we do that? Well, that's because we have a reliable control and governance layer, right? The trust, risk, and security layer. Three most important things that any customer cares about when you talk about Gen AI. And we are providing that TRISM layer. That's what I call it, right? Gartner called it TRISM, trust, risk, and security management, right? Once you have confidence in that TRISM layer, I think your ability to move forward is accelerated. And I think that's what we are giving our customers to move them from, POC, nice, something in the lab kind of thing to
You're right.
production.
And I think from there, I would assume they can then get into kind of the architecture and the components and, what large language model are they going to leverage? And because it can be very different in the POC form versus what you're going to do for real in productions.
Yeah. And what they use could be completely different, right? We have seen this, where models are going from commercial to open source, from large to small, from text-based models to multimodal, right? All of these kind of changes are happening as they learn, as a customer or a business learns, what they need to know in a POC form, and they need to say, okay, I don't want to use an LLM. I want an SLM. I want to tune it a certain way so that I get the kind of result I want in production compared to, at scale, compared to what I used to get in a POC. Those are the things that we are seeing that customers are definitely doing.
Okay. Well, it's certainly an exciting time for any company that has been using automation just to see where they can go from here. And the sky's the limit with Gen AI for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you again, and we will see you next time on Gen AI Talk in 10.